Hi, Richie.
Hi, Sin.
Hi, everyone. It's been a while, Richie.
It has. It's been a hectic, fortnight for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your computer died.
Yes, that was actually the least of the issues, though. And the new one. It's actually good.
How so?
Well, it's not an off-the-shelf notebook that costs, not very much.
Whoa!
I noticed that it uploads the audio faster, and it processes things a lot faster.
Let me correct you.
Yeah.
You noticed that it actually uploads the audio.
Yeah, because the last one was you'd think that the upload speed would be tied to, just the internet you're on, and no. No, it's actually, the computer was so shit, it was taking a long time to just send the fucking data. So yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, excellent. And today is a very special episode. We're finally gonna look at the King of Shade contest submissions.
Whoa! Yay!
Woo! Hype. Okay, so the first one, we'll start with the person who submitted the very first art.
We're in the world.
Yep.
The very first art.
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not an art historian.
But Sin, if you wanted to be an art historian, what podcast would you listen to?
Well,
It's not out yet, is it?
People don't know it exists yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wink.
That's called a teaser.
Well, actually, there was another teaser, but people didn't know it was a teaser yet. But they will.
Sinclair's trick.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, this is the first one.
And it was submitted by Arky Black.
Ooh. This is really cool looking. Yeah.
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 So let's talk about what it looks like and how it makes you feel.
It looks kind of like, I imagine, if Pontiff Sullivan had been the final boss of 3, he sort of would have been a bit like this. Just sort of like a tall robed figure who's got he's got 2 swords sort of floating around him and then another 2 swords behind him. And he's got extra arms, kind of like Nurgo's wet nurse.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I got a very Pontiff Sullivan feel, but also more. I really like what he's wearing.
Yeah.
It's very neat.
Yeah. It's got little tree emblems all over it. And seems to have like roots growing out of him, kind of like the pilgrims in 3.
Yeah, I really like how the design is very intense, but in the middle there's a triangle with a happy little tree. I love that.
Yeah, and the pose that he's doing, where he's sort of very still, but the sword's just floating around him.
Yeah, you could almost see it.
Yeah, you can almost see how the fight would play out, and he has this aura behind him that looks a bit like wings, sort of like a lance. And yeah,
it's very deep. It's very beautiful.
And you can see how it's sort of connecting back to like soulsy ideas, because you've got the tree, and then there's the snake under the tree, and
yeah, also,
yeah, I can imagine this is a real Dark Souls boss. But legally, this is not about Dark Souls. I'm just making that observation.
Yeah,
Could also have been a boss in Lords of the Fallen, or a really gritty Zelda reboot.
Oh my god! Actually, yes. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So when we make our really gritty Zelda reboot.
Yeah, Nintendo, notorious for being really cool with fan projects, not taking them down.
Oh no. Okay, so thank you very much, Arky Black.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really good. Thank you.
So that will be the first piece of art.
Okay.
The second one is And this is by. Isn't it awesome?
I already recognize quite a lot of this.
It's by. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. Stannisarcanine.
Can you write it down?
I wrote it. I wrote it. Can you read it out?
Oh, Stannisarcanine. Stannis is a name and Arcanine is a Pokemon.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you, Rich. Wow. That's why I keep you around. Yeah, so I really love this. You're welcome.
Yeah.
It has 2 phases. And can you take us through the phases?
Phase 1 is that meant to be you or me in phase 1?
I think this is you in phase 1.
Or is it just the
round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so phase 1 is me in a crown with a sword and also a huge can of Big Moon energy. And a cauldron that heals by eating snacks. Oh no, this is you. This is you.
This is me?
Yeah, it says cauldron heals by eating snacks when she parries. So that's you. That's you as like the Queen of Shade.
Oh my god, I am honored.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's you. You have a snack shield
I'm
and a can of
beautiful.
Big Moon energy and a crown on.
Uh-huh.
And your sword is made out of bread, presumably so you can eat it.
Oh my god, it's a baguette sword. I love it.
Oh god, it is a baguette. Yeah, and then phase 2, you, the Queen of Shade, you wake the masked smith by yelling, "Stop bullying me, I own you." and then a much larger being who appears to be me raises up, and I have a hammer with actually written on it. And a staff that says staff that casts magic or whatever it is in Elden Ring. And you're riding on top of my head.
Oh my
god. And then when we're defeated, you're wearing a onesie. And you can join the Snack Covenant.
Oh my god. It's beautiful. I love it.
I guess this is like the Rat King in Dark Souls 2, where it's like this is the test you have to pass.
I think so.
It's beautiful.
It is. It's beautiful. It's very deep. A lot of podcast references.
Yeah.
Like, I'm impressed with everything here. Like, there's the Big Moon, there's a baguette sword, there's the actually, and I think there's a little Slav reference there too with the hammer and the sickle.
The hammer and the sickle, yeah.
Yeah, this is deep.
And also the way that you're drawn, it sort of looks like you in the Yeltsin Years thumbnail.
Oh my god! Actually, yeah! Oh wow!
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Stannisarcanine.
Stannisarcanine, I think.
Stannisarcanine. It's beautiful. All right, so that's number 2.
I'm honored.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Now, number 3, you may have not known this, but Doom Kitty is an artist.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and do you know when I found out? When I asked people to draw, like, Lambo, Doom Kitty drew, like, this beautiful, perfect Lambo, and I'm like, what the heck? Yeah. I love it. Look,
they've done the Souls style crown that's really, really high.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've got, it looks like they have elf ears. So there's some like dark elf thing. They've got a big lance with this like coiling energy going around it. Kind of like, I guess kind of like Gundia in 3.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're like suspended in between these like tentacles of dark energy.
I really like the outfit. I would wear that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I can see that this would be like the cutscene.
Yeah, like rising out of the ground or something.
It would also have very hardcore music.
Dun 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 dun. Oh, oh, oh. Dun 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 dun.
Actually, yes.
We'll get copyright claims for the entire Dark Souls 3 soundtrack from having done that.
Yeah. You know what this is also making me think of? Like I never really played Link much, but I know
Yeah.
there's a Dark Link.
There's a few Dark Links, yeah.
There's a few Dark Links. So I feel like this would be something like that because you see the facial expression of this character. It looks like a nice character, but their facial expression is like mean. So I
Yeah, it
think
looks
this is
like
like
they're possessed or something. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So if there's like a king of light, this is like the king of shade.
Ooh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe this is the removed boss from 3, where it's like you get the soul of the spirit that possessed the king.
Oh my god. Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. I really like the weapon too.
Yeah.
It looks like something out of Soul Reaver.
Yeah, like a lot of there aren't that many bosses with like spears, but they are memorable when they happen.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in fucking Sekiro. This will come up later on, but like my bête noire in Sekiro was just this one guy with a spear who took me longer than like half the bosses combined.
Oh no.
It was like 4 hours just bashing my head into this random like optional just guy with a spear because I cannot fight spear wielders in that game properly.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Okay.
So I imagine I would be stuck on this boss for hours. And then I'd kill it off screen in between streams.
This poor boss. I feel like he's getting your residual hate, Rich. I don't know if he deserves it all.
Look, 7 Spears Yamauchi is just like
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Doom
road not
Kitty.
taken.
Thank you very much, Doom Kitty. So that
That
was
was
number
lovely.
3. Yay.
Yeah. Well, Sin, you look like you have something to say about Doom Kitty's submission that we're talking about now.
It's not like I forgot something and we're recording this at the end and I'm
Oh, that would
inserting it.
be unprofessional.
No. Everything is planned and structured here. So, Doom Kitty actually submitted lore with their submission.
Wow.
Can you read this in your best Vati voice?
The King of Shade was once the regent of a paltry kingdom in the far south, constantly beset by would-be conquerors. Growing desperate for a way to protect his land and people, he dabbled long and deep in the occult arts. Through a blasphemous ritual, the Sorcerer King was able to take hold of his own shadow, draw it into himself, and gain terrible power. Driven by unknown impulses, the tenebrous monarch cast his own castle into ruin when he brought forth a seeping pool of darkness that buried the keep, himself and his most loyal followers beneath the earth. Here he now lingers in the abyssal depths, surrounded by gargantuan snails and other detestable creatures that thrive in such climes.
Bravo.
Remember to like and subscribe.
So, thank you, Doom Kitty. That was number 3. And now we're going to move on to number 4.
Odd that it took us 82 minutes to get to number 4.
Number 4. So
Number
the
4.
next couple, I sort of grouped them together because they have a similar concept going on.
Mm-hmm.
So number 4, King of Shade by Merodach.
Ooh.
Yeah. Richie, describe what you're seeing.
If anyone's seen the film Spy Kids, when there's a character who is molded like clay to have a whole lot of hands coming out of their head.
Uh-huh.
Looks a bit like that, only completely unsuitable for children. This is really, really cool looking. This is like some sort of like robed figure,
Mm-hmm.
but it looks like those really big like samurai straw hats.
Yeah.
And it's like covering up the whole like top half of them, but there's all these fingers and hands sort of coming out of the hat. Like there's something under it that you can't see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot actually of the Elden Ring trailer where you
Yeah,
see
the
the guy
first
holding
boss
the
with the
arms.
arms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it
Totally.
looks like this weird finger hand golem thing, but like the bottom half is just a dude. So it's like
Yeah.
it's very like unnerving.
It is. But
Yeah.
what if the hands and fingers are just part of the hat?
I was actually thinking that because it kind of reminds me of an old Ghostbusters toy I had,
Oh yeah.
where it was like a ghost in two parts, and you could lift the head off, and the head was like a separate thing that scurried around. I'll try to find it. I think it was called H2 Ghost. Oh yeah,
Okay.
here we are. I feel really bad because Merodach's put all this effort into it, and I'm like, this is like a Ghostbusters. This is the one I'm referring to.
Oh, I see. Okay, this is cool. But that means that this boss has two phases. The first one is like you have to like get his head off or whatever, and then the
Yeah.
second phase is like him without the head.
No. It's not. It would be him and the hat at the same time. In software.
So no, there would be like a phase where he's wearing the hat, then a phase where you fight him, then another one when you fight the hat, and then another one when you fight him and the hat separately.
No, and then you kill him, and then he stabs himself with his staff, and then the hat crawls out of him and says, "Beautiful grandchild." And then the hat has another 3 phases.
Well, I mean, like the Souls games have to outsouls themselves with each game, right?
Well, they don't really have to. They are, but I don't think it's mandatory.
I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, this is really good. This is like I hope something in Elden Ring looks this good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that was number 4. Thank you, Merodach. So the next one is number 5 by Princess of War.
Ooh. Okay. Keeping with the hat motif.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like this is like the if you put a happy filter on the previous one.
Yeah. But there seem to be a number of quotations here. See if you can guess who said them. Sigh. Here's the thing, and we've got maybe 3 minutes of usable material here.
Mhm.
So this is someone who appears to be wearing the choir set from Bloodborne, but the top of the hat is a multicolored umbrella, presumably providing the shade. They are the king of.
It's wonderful. It's like so
I,
simple yet so powerful.
it is, yeah. And again, the Souls games, they have a history of large, ridiculous hats.
Yes.
And I feel like Bloodborne was kind of missing that. I
Mm-hmm.
guess the silliest hat in Bloodborne is the enlarged head.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not like an old monk head wrap equivalent.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
So I feel like if they did go back to Bloodborne, they should add this hat to it.
I agree. That would be awesome.
I don't know if that's me and I'm saying these things or they're reading from like a holy book of my quotations.
That's true. I don't know either.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it's like Demon Souls and like they found a book of just transcripts of the podcast and it possessed them.
Oh my god.
And they're just like a corpse that's sustained by my annoyance and having to watch 33 episodes of Reborn.
Well, by the way, speaking of which, I have repackaged the episodes to avoid a copyright strike, and I'm releasing them again.
Yeah,
And the
yeah,
responses are very positive, Richie.
yeah, okay. I'm just gonna
Thought you
Google
should know.
how to copyright
Jesus.
claim on YouTube. Okay,
Shame.
no, continue.
Okay, so thank you very much, Princess of War. It's wonderful. And that was number 5.
Yay.
Now, number 6 is by
Mm-hmm.
Rorik.
Ooh.
Look at that.
I was one day, like ages ago when I was doing my undergrad, I was walking back with a friend and she had a parasol.
Uh-huh.
and one of the heels came off her shoe, so I had to hold her parasol while she fixed it up. And we were outside a restaurant in Melbourne, and I looked through the window, and there was a quite well-known Australian comedian in there, who then turned and made eye contact with me. And he obviously noticed I was holding the parasol and looked extremely confused and somewhat disturbed. So I credit this with my failure to secure a TV career.
Why was he disturbed by the parasol?
Because I'm standing there and I'm like, I look like a sentient pile of rubbish. But then I'm holding this like beautiful, like red and white parasol with hearts on it.
Oh,
And I'm making eye contact with this guy. Like, I recognize you. And then I realize, oh yeah, I'm holding Jerry's parasol.
that is so cute. Can you describe the robes? Because you're better at describing things than me.
It looks a bit like what King Allant is wearing, but it's red. It's like a quite long, voluminous sort of crimson cape. And then that's over like a lighter sort of shade of red, like robe. And very large, like they appear to be like wooden clogs, I think. I think going with like how there's that motif of like samurai with like umbrellas. Is it meant to be like the big like wooden Japanese shoes? I've got a sword in one hand and an umbrella in the other.
And there are little sparks around you.
There are little sparkles around me, which makes me think this is meant to kind of be like Alant in Demon Souls when he turns around and he looks kind of hot, and you're like, oh,
Actually, you know what this is meant to be, I think?
yeah,
Um, Imagine if JoJo Bizarre Adventure was
yeah.
less ridiculous and more realistic.
What would that be?
It would be this.
I think if it were JoJo, it would need to have some more like holes cut in it, like a gigantic heart cut out of part of it.
But that's why I'm saying it's more realistic.
Oh
Like,
yeah, okay, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I look quite bored and annoyed. Seems to be a recurring theme.
Oh, I love it. I love the crown too.
Yeah.
It's
Oh yeah. 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 It's a very very Dark Soulsy crown with like a little gem inserted into it, and like
Mhm.
it's not as high as the others, but it makes up for it in width. It's like a wide crown.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's wonderful.
It's beautiful.
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rorik. So this was
Thank
number
you.
6. Number 7 is by WesAhmed. And so this drawing
Mm-hmm.
has 2 phases. This is phase
Oh.
1.
Oh.
Oh, and
Wow.
this is phase 2. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. This is like
Yeah.
this is very Dark Souls. And it's like a mix of those skeleton those dark wraith guys and like what's his name? Egon, I think. Hi Ingrid.
Can Ingrid help us judge them?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, what is she saying? Which one does she like best so far?
She's saying my tail is caught in the headphone lead. Let me go. So yeah, if you showed me this, I would think it was like actual like Dark Souls concept art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you describe it?
It's a character who's like wearing armor, but it's quite like lithe armor, kind of like the dancer is wearing in 3.
Mm-hmm.
And they have, I don't know if that's meant to be their face or it's like a face that's molded onto the helmet, but it's very like still looking, like almost like a skull.
Yeah.
And they have the like Pontiff Sullivan sort of branch things growing out of their head, and then on their back they have the arms that pop out of things in Dark Souls 3, where it's like the pus of man bursting out of people.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have this big spear that sort of looks like a tree branch, and there's sort of 2 phases to it, and in the second phase there's like more of this like dark sort of energy like twirling around the spear.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's like I like it because it's like a subtle change.
yeah.
But you know the second phase is gonna kick your ass.
Yeah, it's like Artorias getting the Abyss buff.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
we go.
yeah, and it's in this. It's like all black and white, but it sort of looks like the misty effect you get in parts of 3.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's definitely like really, yeah, it would fit right in.
Yeah, like I would see this as like a cover of a game.
Yeah,
It's really
yeah,
neat.
yeah. I can imagine. Yeah, if you just like cropped it out and had that as the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome. Well, thank you very
yeah,
much, WesAhmed.
yeah,
It's wonderful. So that was number 7.
yeah.
Number 8 is by Wayne. And you may remember Wayne from Rich and Die Reborn Chibis. Oh.
Oh yeah, yeah,
As well as some other art. Yeah.
yep.
So, yeah, I grouped these two drawings together because this is also very Dark Souls.
It is. Yeah. This is a. It looks like someone who sort of used to be a king and then now like transformed into something else because they have the crown and this like cape on, but the top part of them is like very very like they're like hunched over, kind of like an ape,
Hmm.
and they have the one of their hands is like manacled, so it looks like it was like a king who was like locked away somewhere, and
Hmm.
like Ludwig in Bloodborne, and then they sort of like devolved into this monster.
Yeah, it's like a mix of Nameless King and Gale,
Yeah, yeah,
as well
they
as
have
Gundyr because of the chain. Oh.
and they have a sort of like a hollowed face with its
Yeah,
like all the skins come off, and they have these glowing red eyes, and they're surrounded by little floating swords, which I
yeah.
imagine would be like when you fight Ligarius and he just summons clouds of swords.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, yeah. And also the sword that he's holding, it looks like it's made of energy or something.
Hmm.
So I guess they like conjure it up instead of them holding it.
Oh, that's actually really cool because there is a contrast between the chain and the sword, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's neat.
yeah,
I also like that they have like a gem on their um like face
crown.
gear. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's a crown, but also it's something that you'd wear in battle because it protects
yeah.
you.
It's like a really ornate like
Yeah.
helmet. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it has a very like fallen king feel to it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And presumably, like they're in the dark because they're the king of shade.
Oh.
Just point out this whole thing happened because you kept calling me the king of shade when I would say things that were not even like shade. It would just be like, "We've been talking about Reborn for 3 hours. Can I go now?" So, oh, shade, shade, and it's led to this. In a similar way that, like, me answering a Reddit message about the astral clock has led to this entire podcast.
Thank you. Thank you, Wayne. That was number 8. Okay.
Thank you.
Number 9 is by Holdsy. And we know Halsey is
Ooh,
the person that does the pixel animation.
yep. And this is another 3-phase one. Oh no, it's like different weapons for different.
And can you read out what it says?
This is the King of Shade by Oh, should we mention that Holdsworth entered Vardy's Elden Ring thing, and he was in the video?
Oh, I don't know. But yeah, I think he's in
Yeah,
like the top 10, right?
yeah, he was in the top 10. He did like a pixel art. It was like a big sort of like golem thing that like reattaches its arm and then fights you. And it
Mhm.
kind of looked like I don't know, like something from like an SNES game.
Yeah, yeah. It was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
pixel
Yeah, it looked
animation.
really
It
good.
was really
Yeah.
cool. But clearly Halsey puts more effort into this because he loves us more.
I'm just saying, like, Vardy did mention us in the last video he did. So we need to.
Okay, yeah, but I'm just thinking, why couldn't Vati mention us back when he was still relevant?
So this is the King of Shade.
This is the King of Shade by Holdsy.
How am I the King of Shade? And you're like, I wish Vadi was still relevant. And you're just like, I'm adorable. I never say anything nasty.
You know, Vati listens to this sometimes, so if he listens to this, I hope he appreciates the burns. Go on.
So, this is the King of Shade, and Holdsy's written out like a 3-phase story about the King of Shade that like tracks his journey, I guess. And it says, after tricking the Veneer with confusing and tangled words, the King of Shade obtained the legendary Antler, the one that defeated Belly the Giant. Although the king couldn't even defeat his own belly. I think that's a reference. That's a reference to the Snack Covenant, I think.
Yes.
And then part 2 is, his cunning wordplay and wisdom gave him a place between the kingdoms, but his long tongue and shady businesses made him despised, and with time he earned his exile. To prevent his poisonous words to fly too high, they broke his wings.
Oh.
That's very Dark Souls.
It's very Dark Souls.
Yeah. And then the final part is, after the shattering of the ring, the King of Shade wandered the blazed lands, teaching tales of lost kingdoms. Tied his broken wing with golden strings and hid himself in crimson rags.
Oh my god, this is literally like a whole Dark Souls story.
Yeah. So like the design is like, it kind of looks like a sort of goat monster, like a humanoid goat monster, I guess you'd say.
Like a pig.
Yeah, looks like Baphomet. Yeah, like this goat-headed human. And he has like the skeleton of a wing coming out of his back that they mentioned like it was destroyed. And you can see like he has this thread that's tied around them. So kind of like Raziel.
Yeah.
He's like, these like broken wings that are, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they mentioned the antler, and he's holding the antler like it's a staff. So he's got this huge like broken like antler thing that he's holding.
Mm-hmm.
And all around him, he's covered in like little bits of gold thread that's sort of tied around like his horns and his body. He looks a lot like if you were to do like a more detailed, like darker version of Link to the Past. This is kind of what like the final form of Ganon would look like.
Mm-hmm.
So this big blue like pig monster in a robe.
Yeah.
All these people are wasted on us. Like they could be.
No, there's so many talented artists in the Discord, and people.
Why are they doing this?
I don't know. It's the isolation. No, but it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got no words. I know for every submission has just been amazing. Like, but
okay.
That's not all. Holdsy also made a little cartoon to go with it. I don't know if I can upload it on here.
Yeah, it should work.
Okay, so
it's animated. It's like you did for the Vadi one. Yeah. The King of Shade. Oh, that narrator sounds familiar. Oh, cool! We get a little like isometric. It's like Fire Emblem. Yep, the king is casting psychosomatic scurvy.
Did you listen to it with the volume on?
Yeah, I can. I hear some Dark Souls 3 music in there.
Did you notice that it's based on what you sang?
Yes. Yeah, I can hear myself going, oh!
Oh my god, isn't it amazing?
Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, it's literally like a
I
little
want to
boss
stress
fight.
you are all wasting your talents
It's like
supporting this terrible channel.
it's amazing. It's literally an animated boss fight.
I know.
And it's so detailed too. Like I
Yes.
can't. I just can't. No.
Oh. Okay, can I go for like 10 seconds?
Yes, go.
Okay, I'll be back. The King of Shade.
So the last entry, number 10,
Number 10.
is by Shadow Fangs 99.
Oh, I know him.
Of course you do.
Yeah, we were friends on Twitter, and like we were the people who were trying to like get good shots of Maria's photograph for like 6 months before Santa like ripped the file and was like, it's just like a smear.
And look at this.
Ooh.
Yeah. Can you describe what you're seeing? It's like almost like a book cover or something.
Yeah, he's gone like beyond like destroying the boss, and he's drawn the arena.
Hmm.
So the arena is this like big like Dark Souls cathedral, like huge pillars holding the roof up. And then it actually kind of looks a bit like the Elden Ring concept art that they showed of like the massive giant with the face like on the
Hmm.
kind of looks it's like a little bit like that, but with these like extra, they look like artificial arms stuck on, I guess, going with the Elden Ring arm thing. And behind him there's this huge, it's like a tapestry that's like glowing, and you can see all these figures on it that are like, there's like a deer and like someone who looks like a bit like they're praying, and then there's sort of runes and things everywhere, and like a dragon. So yeah, I would absolutely like believe this was, if you showed this to me, I would think this was actual Elden Ring concept art.
Yeah, yeah. And you
Yeah,
know how I
yeah,
said it looks like a book cover?
yeah.
Well, because there's more to it.
Oh my god, he's done a full concept art thing, and like, Jesus, this is incredible.
Yeah, and this is the environment. And can you tell us what it reads?
It says, the soft melody of a lyre resonating against gentle waters, and a guttural voice echoes out in tune. The environment's called the Shaded Burrow.
Hmm.
It says the boss is a storyteller. He sits atop his perch. Non-hostile to the player, the fight must be triggered by setting a flame to the branches that reach the water. So that's like, yeah, all around, like there's all these kind of like Ringed City, where there's all the tree branches growing out of everything. It looks a bit like that. It's like this big overgrown church. And then it says the venue that the player has traveled up to this point has been entangled by lavender foliage. The scald is the source of this, blocking the only path forward. So, like, as I guess for people who don't know, like a skald is like a Viking bard, like a storyteller.
Hmm.
So I guess in this version, like, the King of Shade is like this like giant storyteller who's in control of all these like this lavender and foliage that's grown everywhere.
Hmm.
Yeah, and you have to like fight him to make the lavender disappear so you can go forward.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's
that's
really
really
cool.
cool.
Yeah, like again,
Yeah,
like you, if I saw this, I think it would
yeah,
be like official art for Elden Ring
yeah,
or something.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
But you know how I said it looks like a book cover?
yeah.
Because there's more.
Well, he's made an item description and a menu. Oh my
Yes.
god. So this is Elden Shard of the King of Shade.
Uh huh.
It's presumably like the boss soul equivalent.
Hmm.
It weighs 1. You can carry up to 99. And says a fragment of the Elden Ring used to shoulder exceptional power or coalesce into something of worth. And so here's the King of Shade story. A meager fragment of the fabled Elden Ring that fell from the heavens after its destruction, warped and distorted by misuse. That's extremely like Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Once there was a saffron skald who conspired to steal the crown of his kingless land. When his treachery reached the people, no story nor song would sate their wrath, nor bid them hear his pleas of innocence. By popular decree, the royal axeman cleaved through his ancient eyes and laid bare the mind that had betrayed them. But therein was found this Elden shard, whose work was only just begun. And so Saffron turned to shade, and whether he had coveted it or not, the fettered skald knew kingship yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's actually better than a lot of the Dark Souls descriptions.
Yeah, and it ends with once there was a betrayal in a kingless land. Ooh. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pretty amazing, right?
It's incredible. Like, I'd believe this if this post this on like an image board somewhere and people will think it's real.
But Richie, have you ever seen a book with 3 pages?
A very short book.
No, that's ridiculous. So there's more.
Can we just like make Elden Ring now just based on this?
I think we have enough submissions to make our own Elden Ring, bruh. So could you read what this says?
Okay, this is about the fight, and it's like the Shade King is invulnerable to attacks from the player. Only the slow ticking damage of the flames will end the song.
And I think this is the image that we saw on the cover, the first
and
thing
it says,
I showed you.
runic projections are summoned as the combatants. The player must fight, cycling across different... oh, okay. So, like, what the king does is he, like, summons the, like, the things he's telling the stories of, and you fight, like, these projections of, like, folkloric creatures. And they look like two-dimensional like paintings that are appearing. Yeah, and then that's incredible.
Yeah, but just wait because there's more.
Wait, 4 pages?
Can you tell us
what is this, a brochure? Okay. Yep, this is the item you get. I guess it's his boss soul weapon or something. It's called strings of... I'm gonna mess this. Is it strings of seer?
I don't know.
I don't really know. It's like a runic letter that, like, I'm sure some one of our many Nordic viewers will be able to tell us what it is.
Look at the picture; it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's like a stylized like a deer, and then the antlers go up and form a lyre.
Yeah, and it says the rosewood lyre of a princess now fashioned into a bow. That's so cool.
Yeah. So you're using like a harp as a bow, which is like a really cool idea. Again, why is this not the actual game?
I don't know. This is...
I'm gonna be annoyed if I play Elden Ring and I can't kill things with a harp now.
I know, same. Where's my deer harp?
So, once there was a betrayal in a kingless land. A herd of deer came to dwell in an aspen grove of ancient eye-marked trunks. They ate from the branches of these eldest trees in time when no axe threatened their sight. Now a house of woodsmen resided nearby, and the deer were skittish near their kind. But a stag was enchanted by the song of their child, who plucked curious strings upon a carved branch. He listened and counted, trying to guess the chord's number, thinking as many as 7 in all. And though the eyes of the grove cautioned him to their protective shade, he needed to know if he heard right. The stag's muse smiled at his approach, and he saw her instrument had not 7 strings but 1. So it's quite ominous. That it's like converted the strings into the bow. Also, I now realize where the shade is, because it's like a shaded grove.
Oh.
Because everyone else went for like shadowy stuff, but this is like, no, it's like a shaded place you'd go to get refuge.
Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah. So again, this whole incredible thing was created because you were making fun of me on Patreon.
Aren't you glad now? I mean, can you imagine if we had been denied of everything that happened today?
Yeah, I feel like it's like Mad Libs.
What's that?
You know, like you're just coming up with these weird things, and then people are turning them into like good stuff. Like, whose line is it anyway?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So now this was number 5, followed by page number 6.
This is about like the fire progressing. So it says, as the fire progresses, the player's resolve is put to the test, and the tune grows desperate.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says, in the open world, this fight can be challenged at any point in the game. And it just shows more of like this the stories coming to life. So like the player is in the foreground and they're fighting. It's like a sea serpent, but it's a drawing of a sea serpent that's like
Yeah.
transparent.
Yeah.
Reminds me a bit of, I guess, like Okami or something.
Actually,
Where you're fighting the pictures that have come to life. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for ruining Elden Ring. It's not going to be this good.
Yeah, I don't know. This is like legit concept art. I'm really liking
Yeah,
it.
this is like, yeah.
Okay, but we can't end it at page 6, right, Richie?
It's just how long is it going to go for as he made like the rest of the game as well.
Yes.
Oh, good, another item.
Look at that. Rusted.
Yeah, this is the restraints.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4-chain cuffs and the key to lock or remove them as one would please. Effect restricts maneuvering. So, a fearful realm in search of a protector struck a bargain with an ancient serpent to warden the most encircling of their walls. Though the snake served obediently, the people were distrustful and soon bound it to anchored chains that kept it from abandoning them. Calm but spiteful, the creature strained to its full size, circling round the gates of the entire land and enclosing all within it. The people offered quickly to undo their mistake, but the time had passed for the serpent to find any value in the key to his own shackles. If it was a captive, so were its captors, and if it had a prison, it had a kingdom.
That's so cool.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, it's really cool. Like,
yeah.
I'm running out of things to say. That's so cool. So then, image number 8.
So, chaotic lyre and shuffling of chains come to a close as the projection disintegrates into dust. So this is like as you defeat them.
Mm-hmm.
Burnt to cinders, the perch collapses into itself, and the way forward is clear. The boss enemy's essence can now be acquired. So this would be like when it finishes burning out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's like the same area, but it's all like ashy, and the lavender's all gone.
Mm-hmm. Followed by this item.
And then we get another item.
Look at this. This is amazing.
You can read this
No,
one.
I'm shy.
I'm shy, says the person whose constant like insulting of me led to this contest coming into being.
No, you're the king of shade. You're the insulting one.
Yeah, but you gave me the title.
That's because I'm
like when giving the soul to Seath.
So, that's pretty nice.
Bloated ram's beard. A ceremonial axe once used for royal executioners in a fallen land. The bearded ram, infatuated by a young calf, sought to change its form to be her equal. The calf, aware of his affection, shared with him the wisdom of the elders, that one's shape emerged from one's diet. So the ram took to hunting mighty bulls in secret, feasting upon their corpses and bloating himself into a greater beast until he had devoured all of bull kind in this land. Except the calf, of course, for she came to be confined by a shepherd. So the time came when he spoke of a final delicacy to sate his heavy appetite, and the beard of the ram flowed red once more.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like this is an axe, and like the head of the axe is like this ram's head, and then out of the bottom of the ram, like where the beard would be, there's this huge blade. Uh-huh. So it's like this like ram's head with a giant like bloodied like beard sticking out the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is very dark. It's a dark game.
I'm just sitting here like you did this for us.
I know. I know. It's like I told you, it's incredible how many like talented, incredible people listen to us.
Like people's like university portfolios that had less effort put into them.
Okay, but now we have to look at the character.
Yeah, so this is the that's the player character of Elden Ring.
Mm-hmm.
kind of looks like samurai-ish.
Yeah.
Looks a bit like Alon from Dark Souls 2. With the big shoulder pads and the little plates on the armor, and it's like the banded armor that
Alan from
samurai
Dark
wear.
Souls 2?
Oh, not Alon. Alon.
Alan?
Alon. Well, they're both Alan.
Okay, they're both Alan. Okay.
Alan and Alon. Alon is the weeb samurai boss, where if you beat him without taking damage, he commits seppuku.
Aww.
And the whole backstory is that he was a samurai who came to a medieval European kingdom, and they were all like, katanas are the best swords ever. He's like, I know. And the kingdom became unstoppable because they had Japanese katanas now.
That's awesome. I really love the asymmetry of his armor. It's very high fashion.
Yeah.
And there's a coiled sword, the signature Souls thing.
Yep.
And what I assume turns out to be a lock shield.
Yeah, that'd be a lock shield. I realized the other day that pretty much every day I go past a place called Lock Avenue.
Oh my god, is that Destiny?
It predates the podcast, so yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Alright, so now that we saw the player character, we have to see this. Did you just faint? You're like, oh my god, how many pictures are there?
No, that was me dropping the mouse. So this is it's Boss Essence armor. It looks like a helmet.
Uh-huh.
And it's called... You're closer to Scandinavia, so how would you pronounce this?
I don't know. We don't have that thing in...
We don't either.
You just go bound fold, you know?
Probably just call it a foldo.
Foldo.
This is nail bound fold.
Mm-hmm.
I guess?
It
says, Knotless Mask of a Traditional Storyteller Long Abandoned. And it grants an additional attunement slot. It has 2 weight units and 250 durability.
That's a good item.
So he's not only doing the concept art, he's also designing the mechanics of the game.
Yes.
In the midst of a great famine, a queen entrusted the last apple in her kingdom to a loyal knight. Permitted to eat the precious fruit, he was instructed to use its seeds in planting a fresh grove of trees. Neither of them knew it was poisonous. The knight was horribly disfigured, hiding the ugliness of his face beneath a mask. When the queen learned of this, she locked the knight away to conceal her own shame. But in the dungeons below her kingdom, behind a veil that would soon be discarded, the knight's budding vengeance spread, snaking roots to claim its own domain.
This is very Demon Souls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really love the mask. It's very it's very neat. It's very cool.
Yeah, it kind of looks a bit like the base is sort of like one of those Day of the Dead, carnival masks, like a skull. Yeah. But it's covered in all of this greenery and runes and things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's an interesting mixture of different styles.
Mm-hmm. Now here, there's more.
Here is the ISO of Elden Ring.
What does it say here, Richie?
This is the boss. This is the King of Shade, the actual boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you describe what you're seeing? It's very cool.
It is in true Elden Ring style, there's multiple arms. It's an old guy with a beard. And he's got at least one extra arm, stuck to his back. You're seeing him in profile, so you can't see if there's another one on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all this, lavender and, flowers growing out of his body.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember on the description of the Elden Shard, that, they gouged his eyes out with an axe.
You can
So
see.
he's got he has it looks like Pac-Man. He has this like wedge missing from the middle of his face.
Uh-huh.
And he's covered in chains that are like holding him in one spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
the chains?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And his body is also covered in like runes, I think, as well as
Yeah. Yeah,
eyes.
yeah, they look like sort of like Nordic looking runes. And he's got the key to his chains in one of his hands.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Yeah. No, it's really
yeah.
cool.
It's really good, yeah.
It like evokes emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should clarify that like once you come up with an idea, it is copyrighted. So if From are watching this and this shows up in Elden Ring 2, we'll know.
Oh no. Okay. So now we have this. Saffron robes.
Why don't you read this?
Did you know that saffron is like the most expensive thing ever?
Um,
And it's edible.
is that the description?
No, that's my knowledge of saffron.
Yeah, but you see, he's written a whole thing you can just read.
Maybe. We have a coworker who is Persian, and she makes the most amazing like saffron rice. And we always like tell her to make more and bring it to work for lunch because it's amazing. So I have like a very emotional attachment to this item.
Okay.
So this is the saffron robes. Once a desperate once a desperate land, mysteriously widowed on its monarch, entrusted their young heir to a saffron skald, whose lyre kept the hymns of all humanity. The people assured themselves that a princess, regaled by the tales of their greatest heroes, would sprout into a noble ruler. But as the story goes, the strings of the skald wore darker melodies of his own ambition to reign as a puppeteer king. And though the skald failed to impart a moral character to his charge, perhaps to his misfortune, the art of storytelling was passed down quite well. And then there's also a description underneath the robe.
Discarded robes of a skald, whose hands, in privation of the dark, became his eyes, and his chains the garden walls of a vengeful curse.
Ooh.
Ooh.
And this kind of reminds me of Sekiro a little bit. Like Sekiro meets Dark Souls 2.
Because it's like orange.
It's orange and there's a little fur on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. And you can make it into rice.
Yeah, there we go. It's delicious.
Rice is an important plot point in Sekiro.
Yeah, so there were like subtle themes of like shade and like nourishment in this. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And the last page is this.
And it's just like a kind of collage of the stuff we've seen before.
Yeah, like the last page of the book.
Yeah, and it says, once there was a betrayal in a kingless land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that was number 10 by Shadow Fangs 99.
Yeah.
So we went through the submissions, and the way that we're going to pick the winner is that everybody who saw this gets to vote. Yay! So I will link a link to a poll in the description.
Yeah.
And like you can pick the art that you like the best from like 1 to 10.
Okay.
Yay!
Yay.
So now, Richie, do the outro.
That was the King of Shade art contest, in which I was really impressed with the quality of the work to the point where I'm wondering why you did it for this. Thank you. But work on bettering yourselves. Work on broadening your horizons. Oh no, it was all so good, and there's so much effort went into all of it. Like, I was expecting it to just be like a bunch of weird in-jokes, but like some of these could actually be in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of like the concepts and things are like more interesting than a lot of bosses we've actually seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and each one of them had so much effort put into it. It's insane.
Yeah.
And everything had like a little reference of like the Snack Covenant. It was very cool.
Yeah.
You know what? What we need to do is we need to make like a video game with all of these as bosses.
Oh, who's gonna do that?
Kyan? Kyan is cool. He taught me more stuff today. Which I think...
We'll talk about it later. I'm concerned about the influence of Kyan and his fetishes.
Thank you, Richie. Have a good day.
Thank you, Sin, and thank you everyone who submitted.
Yeah, thank you. You're all awesome. Bye.
Bye.